and I felt like I got lucky on this one. The black micarta inlays are also really trendy and popular, and they go fast, as well as the double lugs. So this is exactly what I wanted. So I was super, super stoked to get it. So that's the deal with that. You'll be seeing a lot of that. This one is going into the shop, like I said. The reason it's going in the shop, I'm having issues with the pivot. Actually, from day one when I got the knife, you can't screw the pivot all the way down. If you screw the pivot all the way down on this one, the knife's too tight. The detent's too tight, and the knife barely wants to come out. Now, my action is fine on it. It's super smooth, but that's because I only screwed the pivot down about 3/4, and then I put some blue Loctite in there to hold it, and it's not moving. It's not moving around. It's solid. The knife's not going anywhere because it's just crazy tight as far as the tolerances. But it's also affecting the stop pin, which I know there's a lot of controversy about this stop pin, and I'm starting to understand it more because as I started having trouble with this knife, I'm starting to understand what some of the more educated YouTube knife guys are talking about. Because like I said, I'm still learning about Chris Reeves. It's still a newer world to me. I know more about Spyderco because I've started my collection there, so I've had more years of experience in that world. This is more new to me, so I'm learning. I love the quality of the materials and everything, but I am a little bit disappointed in how they milled that clip, or how they milled that stop pin out, because that's what I think is giving me the trouble with the tolerances, is the stop pin. Because once I tighten this down to where it needed to be, I still have a total center on the knife as far as the blade. You know, I have the action smooth and probably normal to any other Sebenza that I've at least tried, which is only a couple, so I'm not super experienced. But, you know, you can see the action seems fine. But again, that pivot's not screwed down all the way. Not even close, okay? Then you got the stop pin up here, which is screwed down all the way. Every time I screw it down all the way, about a day or two later, after flipping it and carrying it for the day, etc., this stop pin, the screw comes loose, and to the point of coming out. And so then I put Loctite in that as well. So I've Loctited this screw and this screw. On a $550 knife, I'm not feeling like I need to use a bunch of Loctite on all the screws to make it work right. So I'm not feeling great about that. Do I believe that Chris Reeve will stand behind this and make it right? 150%. I'm not concerned they're going to make it right. My only concern is just not having the knife for whatever, a month, month and a half, whatever it's going to take for them to turn it. They're telling me 2 to 8 weeks. So hopefully on the earlier side, but whatever it is, it is. And that's not horrible, but let's face it, this is still very much in the new phase for me, and I hate to give it up for a period of time, but I get it and I want it to be right. And I know they're going to make it right. So I did call in this morning. Had a great experience with customer service. They were very friendly, very helpful, told me where to go online. You just fill out a basic form, and then you basically just print it off and send it in with the knife. So not a whole lot to it. They made me feel very confident they're going to stand behind it and make it right. So I'm not overly concerned. There's no expense. It's all under warranty. So I'm sure it's going to be right, guys. The only thing it's going to really cost me is just shipping it back out to them. But so be it. That's fine. It is what it is. Obviously, I took my lanyard off as well. Not a big lanyard guy. I will tell you something funny. I do have the lanyard still on the small one, and it's just because it's brand new. I'm going to take it off because I'm not a lanyard guy, but to be honest with you, this thing's going to fall off all on its own, so I'm just going to kind of let it happen. And as I think a lot of you know, when you go like this to close your knife, it has a tendency to catch the lanyard, which again, Chris Reeve, what were you thinking on this one? You guys are brilliant as far as making knives, but what's the deal with this lanyard hole setup? Look at this thing. I've had it for, what, a week maybe? And it's totally fraying out. And it's strictly from opening and closing the knife. So even if you put a nice lanyard on there, it's just going to come off anyway because of the way they got the lanyard hole set up and the way it goes through, it hits the blade. So I know I'm not the first one to say that, but I'm just going to let it fall off on its own just because, or I'll get frustrated with it and eventually just take it totally off. But definitely these knives, in my opinion, aren't made for a lanyard for the simple fact of the way that lanyard hole is set up and the way that the blade hits it. So that would be the only thing I would say about this knife that I don't get it. You know, outside of that, what a beautiful experience to hold a knife like this. My first one I ever held was this one that I bought in January. And I've gone from that to becoming obsessed with the fact that these guys put out a quality product. So even though I'm taking my knife in for service, it does not make me feel like these guys aren't putting out a quality product. I do think they put out a nice product. Don't get me wrong. This is a $550 knife. I shouldn't have to send this in. This shouldn't be happening. But I'm okay with it because of how they handled it. I felt like they were professional on the phone. I felt like they're very courteous and nice about it. They made me feel confident they're going to turn it quickly. You know, mistakes happen. Things happen, guys. It's okay. I'm fine with it. Let's just hope that what they're telling me will happen and they will be able to turn this quickly and I will be able to get it back and it's going to work just fine. Again, I believe it will. No problems at all. I will keep you guys updated, and when I get it back, I'll share my experience with you. But before I shipped it out, I just kind of wanted to show it to you one more time because you guys really haven't seen this except for the last video I put out on it was a week after I got it. And then I pulled all my videos down. So I'm just kind of reboosting my channel and decided I wanted to go for it and start doing it again full blown. So again, I apologize to anybody that was subscribing that I pulled the channel, but I had a lot of business back and forth between Chicago and Colorado, and I just wasn't in a position to work on the channel, so I decided to pull it all down until I could do it properly. So anyway, I just wanted to show this to you before I send it out because I know I won't have it for a little while. I will be doing a bunch of videos on this knife, especially because of the S45VN. At some point, we may even do some steel tests on that a little bit and play around with doing some cutting with it. Right now, it's still a little too new. I'm going to baby it a little bit more before I get too hardcore with it, but this is going to be a keeper, no doubt about it. This is going to be a keeper, as this is. I believe these knives should be working knives, and my only issue with this one is I love it. I love the way it feels in the hand. I love bigger knives. My only issue with this knife is that it's just not street legal, and that creates a little bit of a concern with me just because. I'd prefer to carry this one because I'm going to get that same awesome action, that same quality, but in a street legal knife. It's just a little on the small side for what I'm used to, but I will tell you, it feels a lot bigger in hand than it is. When I first took it out of the box, I kind of laughed because I thought it was so small. And I was expecting it to be kind of small after watching some videos, etc. But I was just surprised. It just felt so much smaller and so much lighter that I didn't see the same value in this knife that I saw in this knife when I first got it. The small just seemed like, well, I'm spending almost the same amount of money, but this knife's a lot smaller. There's not as much to it. But then you play with it, and the action is way better than this one. And not way better, but it's just different. It's better. The action is better. The action's great on this one. Great. Really, really good. Obviously, it's got the new steel, which is exciting. I know they're all going to have it soon enough, but being one of the first out of the gun with it's kind of fun. Anyway, I'll get more into all these. I just wanted to share something here with you. I know I rambled on much more than I was planning on it, but I just wanted to get this back on the camera before I sent it out, and then I'll give you guys a heads up after I get it back and kind of let you know how that experience was. But so far as talking to customer service and having them walk me through the process of sending it out to them, they were really helpful. So, I encourage you not to be afraid to reach out to them if you need to for any reason. But we'll see how it goes, and I'll keep you in touch, guys. That's enough for now. Signing off.